Right ahead, Reverend Gadsden, wrong line, good sir.
Okay, real good. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Self Care. I'm Nathaniel Gadsden, and I'm here on the Voice 17104 Harrisburg with a very special guest, Aisha Mobley, and we call her Isha. Isha, how you doing?
All right.
All
I'm
right,
good.
there you go. There you go. Hey, congratulations! By the way, really nice article in the Berg magazine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. I didn't realize you were in the military at one time.
Yes.
Okay,
Med-
fantastic. Yeah, and you were.
medical. I'm a
Huh?
medical specialist, PFC.
I
Right.
saw that. Yeah. How long? How many years did you spend?
Listen, not enough to really even own it. I went to reserves right here on Second Street was my unit.
Okay,
But then I
fantastic.
went to National Guard and
Uh-huh.
then I finished out that way.
Oh, that's excellent. That's good. Yeah, we have a daughter who did the same thing, and that's very admirable and all that kind of stuff. I see you rocking Penn State. That's my team,
Yes,
Penn State.
yes,
And I'm rocking the Eagles. It's a good year for us
yes.
all the way around. Hey, we really wanted you to come on tonight. We did a program last week talking about the homelessness situation. Take these off. And of course, there's a lot of headlines currently about what's happening under the Marlborough Street Bridge. And I know you've been on this for a minute because you introduced me to that whole area down there. I had no idea that that was going on. And through your organization, which is Christian Churches United, you had me come down and actually met a few people and worked with them for a while, a long time. But I was not aware of that encampment, if you want to call it that. And now they're breaking that up, and I understand there's still three people that are still there, and they're trying to get them out. Tell us all about what's going on there, but also let's frame just homelessness in general tonight, okay?
So homelessness right now, to speak about Harrisburg specifically, which is my niche and what I understand the best.
Mm.
So we have a housing crisis. So that's number one. We're being impacted by that all the way around. So that is definitely spiking our homeless population. And so there's different levels to what homelessness is, right, in most of our minds. So
Hmm.
there are folks who are living in a hotel. A lot of families are in many of our surrounding hotels.
Hmm.
So those that is a level of homelessness, though, according to HUD, if you are paying, your self pay, then you're basically paying for your housing. That's your housing. So that's still
Yeah,
not quite home. That's still not quite homeless.
and
So
by the way, most of those people aren't really paying for that, are they, Isha? Aren't most of them being subsidized
no,
for a
no. A
period of
lot of the
time?
subsidies have dissipated. COVID is over. A lot
Hmm.
of those subsidies were covered by a lot of the different funding that was provided all through the COVID shutter in and all, to help all the different folks impacted several different ways
Yeah.
by COVID. So no, there are many working families living in hotels.
Hmm. Oh, that's
So
true. That's true. Yeah. Hmm.
many working families because we were ranked second in the country, the nation of Harris, I mean, of the United States. We are ranked the second hardest city to find housing.
Wow.
So that's number one. So before we get to homelessness, let's put it in perspective. So
Hmm.
that's that. So we're hard to find. So then when you are looking for housing in our city currently, landlords are looking for you to earn three times the rent, be able to show that you
Okay.
have income from whatever forms or sources that you have
Hmm.
that you have
Wow.
that you are making three times the income and that you have a credit score of either 580 and above or 600 and above in some instances,
Really? Okay.
right? And so then our seniors, when we come back to who are street homeless, seniors are making by Social Security, um, the main median income I'll say is $800 a month. That's it.
Wow.
That's all they get. So when you hear of affordable housing and it starts at 850 a month for a one bedroom, our seniors are already priced out
Mm.
of that housing.
Yeah. You know,
So, and
and,
then with the
mhm.
seniors, many of our homeless in general are
Yeah.
priced out of that housing. So then that leaves us with rooming housing and or now Airbnbs or hotels that are charging by the weekly rate.
Yeah.
So those are that's what right now is affordable, and that still is jam packed. So we're framing the homelessness for you. So then we're down to the folks who are now street home.
Yeah.
So they are impacted by drugs and alcohol. They
Mhm.
are people who were in the children and youth system, foster
Mhm.
children,
Mhm.
sometimes adopted out, and then that didn't go well. They are people that are impacted, of course, by the penal system. So
Mhm.
people that are sometimes on the run,
That's
many
right.
times sex offenders, right?
Mhm.
People on Megan's Law, and then other times people on probation that can't find
Absolutely.
jobs or housing that will, allow them with a record to live there.
Mhm.
So, and then you have, so that's pretty much the conglomerate. So that's usually it. So seniors, people who are, drug impacted,
Mhm.
using something or coming off of something in between or selling something. Then we have our veterans. I forgot, I don't want to forget them. We have our homeless
Get
veterans.
down. But let me
And
stop
they
you for
come,
just a minute, Aisha,
so there
because
you
you're
go.
doing a great job, no question about it. And all of those entities that you mentioned, have been there. So, question for you right now: you tell us your title at Christian Churches United.
Okay. My title is Community Mobilization and Outreach Coordinator.
So, when you look at all those various entities that you mentioned, and different ways that people become homeless, and we're still going because we're just bringing up the veterans. In fact, uh, how does your job impact? And and put you in contact with these folks who are our brothers and sisters who are currently in this situation, and then how do you help them or assist them along the way?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So the community mobilization part of my job is role would be where I come in contact with Christian Churches United is a nonprofit. We are made up of 100 member churches, as well as getting federal, state, and county and city funding to do what we do for the community. People may know our programs like Help Ministries, where we have the help office that pay back rent, uh, first month's rent, security deposit. So those are under that umbrella. So under as a community mobilizer, I sometimes am giving speeches to our donor churches, letting them know about homelessness, letting them know about all the different volunteer opportunities that we have, all of our different events and how they can be supported, which all end up supporting somehow our street homeless or our initiatives in the help office, which help people that are experiencing poverty, incarceration, or homelessness,
Mhm.
or trying to exit one of the three. So that's where all of the different activities and things we do. So that's the community mobilization part. And then also when it comes to on the street, connecting with the different individuals, church groups that are out there, like that are feeding, that
Mhm.
are giving out resources. And then my other role is chairperson of Compassion Action Network,
Mhm.
which is an initiative of Christian Churches United. And so that is a network of grassroots organizations, individuals, churches, people who have specifically the street homeless at heart. So I'm there trying
Yeah.
to collect and recruit and connect with all of those different groups so that we can work together to not oversaturate areas, right?
Yeah.
So that we can get a schedule, so that we can um, work to best serve and be good stewards in our service to the people, right? So that three people aren't coming in the same day to deliver socks,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
we know what's really out there,
Mhm.
what the real needs are. So that's the community mobilization part, connecting, recruiting volunteers, and getting the word out. Then
So one of
the
the things I want to
outreach,
say to you,
yes.
let me before you go to outreach, one of the things that I know you do because we work with you in a short period of time there when we have our strengthening families, celebrating families, and strong African American families programs, are all free programs. And what strikes me is we struggle to get families in, but we know that families are in these hotels. We know that they're in these what do you want to call them, halfway houses. We also know that they're in the homeless shelters and that kind of thing. But there seems to be, as you said, no, there seems to be a lack of coordination or understanding now. And one group has been very, very helpful to us. I'll just say it that way. That's Shalom House, because one of our workers happens to work there, and that's Pearl Sweeting.
Mhm,
Pearl's
mhm.
done a tremendous job of bringing the women in. We've been very helpful to them, that kind of thing. But with all the other shelters and all the other halfway houses, all the other entities out there that are working with families. How come we don't have more of a, and Pat goes to every last one of Helen Spence's, what do you call them, the community partnership things. It's a Thursday, one of the Thursdays, whatever, It couldn't
The
be
second
better
Thursday of the
coordination.
month, Dauphin County
Second
Partners
Thursday.
meeting. I attend those
Yeah,
monthly, yes.
absolutely. I know you do. Yeah. So how can we do a better job of, because these are free services. We're not charging families a dime. The county's stepping in. We have very good trained people to make these things happen. So we're saying, you don't just come and get a meal no, we're actually giving them real information to help them hopefully to be better parenting, but also to get off of the homeless and all that kind of stuff. Can we do a better job of coordinating the services? And I know you're on the front lines of this, so I'm just throwing the question out there like that.
Definitely getting the word out at least a month ahead of time, connecting, like getting with those provider agencies at least maybe 1 to 2 months ahead of time, saying, look, we plan to start our classes on this date. Just want to make sure you get the word out ahead of time. If there's transportation issues with different families that you want to recommend or refer, we need to know that ahead of time, because that would usually be it. There's so many things now vying for families' times. The economy is so tough. I think one of your biggest competitors is the second job.
Yeah.
Right. The
That's a good
second
point.
job that families are working, in that time frame can sometimes, get in the way of people who really have a heart to want to participate. But that work schedule is for the people who really could benefit the most from this. Unfortunately, are probably working 2 and 3 jobs. That's probably one of the biggest factors. I'm thinking, along with communicating it to your key groups, getting an ambassador in your group to visit the different churches on Sundays, right? Get it in the church bulletins, right? But that's that good key word of mouth. This is how, and then hit all the key points of how it benefits. If you're going through a custody battle, if you're trying to prove yourself to probation or children and youth, this is the course you want to take, because your course is also court recognized. So people need to know that it's court recognized, right? For parents who want to show, that are, like I said, going through a custody battle. So that would be also a connection to neighborhood dispute settlement, right? Because usually there's families that are sometimes going through custody battles, and they could maybe be a referral source. Right? Because you could maybe be an intervention, right, to that, and then getting in that courtroom. That's another place. Going to the juvenile court and getting with Judge, is that Judge Royce Morris? Getting with him and get on his radar so that he can put that in as one of his referral points when he's dealing with families.
And I will give Judge Morris credit. He met with us, got his entire staff involved, and was doing some work there. And yeah, so he's done a good job. We missed Janine Turgeon. She was excellent at all the points you just mentioned, connecting those dots and that kind of thing. And I don't say that just for us. I say that for any entity that's out there. There's so many agencies are saying, we're the people. We know that they're there. And they contact us sometimes looking for, how do you make it happen? It is interesting. I don't want to cut you off, but let's get back to the veterans. You mentioned veterans. Tell us that uniqueness about the veterans.
Now, the veterans, what a lot of times happens with veterans, I worked with, for example, I have a case in point where I worked with a gentleman for almost a year. Never once did he mention he was a veteran. And then when he finally let it slip out, because he'd been drinking or something, he let it slip. And he was so angry, he let it slip. And I said, oh my gosh, you're a veteran. I can't believe you didn't tell me this. They have a whole homeless program. There should never really be a homeless veteran, even if they were dishonorably discharged.
Yeah.
Even if they never saw a speck of war. They have a program that they are entitled. They may not get all the services of the VA, but they will get served being homeless.
Yes.
So they cover their homeless folks. They take care of them. There's many services to connect them to housing. There's also the tiny housing. There's programs that pay for moving costs and bed delivery, just to get them on their feet, even if they aren't entitled to all the services. But a lot of times you'll find they're disgruntled and maybe angry with government.
Yeah.
in general. So they don't want to reconnect to the man, the system.
Yeah.
So even being out there in some of the worst uh, situations, extreme conditions of weather, they
Yeah.
will not say it. But I was able to, in spite of, say, listen, you have to connect to these services. I can't have you out here. You're going blind.
Yeah.
Like, come
Yeah.
on, I need you to connect. So we were able to connect that person, and that person actually got housed. But
Let me
there's
ask you
so
this
many ways.
there.
And there's a new Veterans Administration Services office on 3rd Street. I can't give you the exact
Oh,
address, but
really? Okay.
you Google it, it's there. But they have a great source of resources. And then there's the other one at the White House at the YWCA Veteran Services.
Right.
So there's several points of access to connect. And then they have a 1-800 number that will link you and tell you all the services that you qualify for, also over the phone for homeless veterans. So,
So tell us about
so
the
there's resources
encampment.
there.
I should the encampment. They used to have it at the State Farm Shop, and then I know they had it someplace else. You know what I'm speaking of when I say the
You talking about
encampment?
the veteran standoff where they have all the
Standoff. I
services
wouldn't say
for
encampment.
veterans?
Standoff.
Yeah,
Yes. I
yes,
was.
they have like Mission Barbecue would come in and they do the
Yeah.
food, and they had the COVID vaccine, and they
Yeah.
had job vendors, and they do health checkups, and then they have all the different points to connect them to services, including, of course, the homeless services are right there. So they do that, once a year at the farm show, and that is a big deal. A big day to make connections. And they have buses, they have bus
Yeah.
stops, and they're busing them in from different places and locations, including the 10 cities.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that'll be coming around. I don't know when, because my focus
Wasn't it
is
usually like around September or something like that?
there we go. Usually like
Yeah.
right around like back to school time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I
Mhm,
think so.
mhm.
Yeah, we've
Yep,
we've
yep, yep.
participated many times, but that's a fantastic, offering. I said encampment, but it's called what is it called again? Standoff or
The veteran standoff.
standoff? Veteran
Mm.
standoff. Fantastic. Yeah. So, okay, let's talk solution oriented. As you've been out there, you're an expert in this field now. People recognize the work that you're doing, and congratulations for all of the accolades and things you're doing. And I know you're doing it because I've seen you in action. And you, what's that Energizer Bunny thing? You do not stop,
I
and we
know.
need you. Every community needs an Aisha Mobley, and so God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank
And I
you.
like the fact that in the article you said this is your dream job where you can actually work and also serve the people at the same time. So that's you. That's for real. That's good stuff. So anyhow, congratulations for all you're doing. But solutions though, when we start talking about how do we help
So
community
when we talk about
individuals,
solutions,
whatever.
that comes back to the other question, ties into you were my job title being twofold, the street outreach.
Oh, that's right.
So why am I out there? When I first started, and we April of 2020, CASH is the big network, Capital Area Coalition Against Homelessness. So we are all part of CASH, the providers I'm about to list. So they developed a coordinated outreach during COVID, and we didn't stop. So April 2020, we started going out every Thursday to the encampment right there under Mulberry Street Bridge. And then we ended up going to PennDOT as well. So during this coordinated outreach, we were able to supply porta potties, right, the network, and a faucet, if you will, on the fire hydrant. So they had some access to running water. They got creative, put a shower situation to it so they could even wash up. So those were supplies that were put in place, and then the county took onus on making sure the porta potties were cleaned regularly. And then, of course, the city, we put the chained, at that point in the early days, trash cans there because it wasn't as many people there as it was at the beginning. So at this coordinated outreach, which comes back to what we did to solution oriented, at that time during the shutter in, our homeless or unhoused had no access to anything. Where they normally would come in was all shut down. The libraries, downtown, the buses, the malls, churches. So those were all their access points for help. So we had to come up with a plan, strategy, take the services to them. We set up tables. And so there was UPMC. They developed a street outreach medicine team. A nurse was coming out, just a nurse at the beginning. Now they have a doctor, a nurse, and a community outreach worker. Dauphin County Library mobile van. She has Wi-Fi, so the unhoused could come near her van with their phones and use their Text Now apps on cell phones. We also did a cell phone drive at Christian Churches United with the different churches, so we were able to pass out the phones, load them up with a Text Now app, so when they're near Wi-Fi, they could make calls and messages. The library also had a working computer. That all is still going to this day.
Yeah.
Then the Bethesda Mission mobile van was bringing food boxes from Salvation Army,
Yes.
packed and ready for specifically packed for the unhoused, for items they could use, not with things that weren't, like the required refrigeration. So that wasn't in their boxes. So we started that, and then I was there with masks. Different churches were sewing masks, and then it skyrocketed from just masks to me being able to give out clothing, supplies, toiletries. And then that's how my reputation and connection grew with the unhoused. This moment has the good stuff. I knew a lot of people who had good stuff to give away. People were doing spring cleaning. They were stuck in their houses for the shutter in. So I was the only person on the road. Traffic wasn't an issue. I had my special paper that allowed me to travel during the shutdown and make these donation collections so that we can give them out. So there I was building a rapport and trust level with folks so that I could ultimately get them to give me their information for the coordinated entry assessment and VSPADAT, which is a vulnerability index tool that we use in the homeless management information system. Not an alphabet soup, if you will, but it is how we are able to see what an unhoused person may qualify for housing program across the entire county, the entire Dauphin County.
Yeah. So, a question for you then: are we getting people off the streets? Are we getting them out of these shelters? I mean, do they take advantage of it and then
So
do they
there's
come
a
back
yes,
to it, or do
there's
they
a yes,
stay?
and there's a no. So just like we learned after many years that drug and alcohol is a continuum, it's a process, right? It's an illness, and the person may not fix it the first time they come in for help. They may not fix it the second time, the third time, the fourth, or the fifth, right? But we have to just be there and meet them where they are at that ready point and just walk with them. It's the same with homelessness because you have all those pieces that make up the puzzle. So you have to walk with that person. Some folks are at different readiness levels. Sometimes it's just getting them housing ready, not maybe housed, but housing ready, having their ID, having their birth certificate, having getting ready, talking about being housed, setting goals, getting connected with mental health services, CMU, and then they connect them with different psychiatrists, drug and alcohol services. Just getting them there is a big step for many folks. Then the next step is some folks qualify for different programs. There's the emergency housing voucher. There's the 811 voucher for people with disabilities. There is rapid rehousing, where they get a case manager and their rent paid and on a titrating down level and worked with. And so there's those different programs, right? That's the goal. There's shelter plus care, when we find people with mental illness and not being able to take care of themselves. So all those different housing programs, and then the Y, right, has Bridge, Safe Haven, Safe Shalom House, like you talked about. They have the SHARP program for women who are over 60 that have mental illness and homelessness, right, and have an income. So they don't have to pay but 30% of their rent for the rest of their lives. And so as long as they, keep with the case management and follow the rules. So all those different programs, that whole mouthful is in the homeless management information system. So when a person trusts me with their information and that assessment, that is the purpose and goal. And then all of the outreach is because our folks don't always keep their phone number. They don't always stay in the same place. So I got to keep up with them so that when that housing option shows up, because it's not always right away. It's a process. You go in the system, we're working with you, we're looking to see what you qualify for. Then you have to wait for their application process, right? And their verification processes. So keep it up with that person through this process so that I can be there to say, yes, you're approved, you're in, I help them move in. We do a welcome home kit. That is part of Christian Churches United, where people get housed in an efficiency, a room, or a program where they have their own space and they need to clean it. So they get that trash can and laundry basket, full of all types of those housing supplies for the bathroom, kitchen, and kitchen, bathroom, and then laundry. So
Yeah.
all of those supplies, so that they don't have to buy them when they first go in. That is provided for them to help extend their money, because usually, right, their money took all they had to move in. So and then because I also have access to a food pantry, I help them encourage them that way. Or if they have their food stamps, then I'll give them that first ride to the grocery store, to help them fill up their fridge when they first move in. Now every person doesn't do that, but that is, a little special bonus if they're on my caseload in particular that I would help them with if I can.
And I've seen you in action. I saw your van, your truck, whatever, just loaded up with stuff, and you had come up. In fact, at one point we were down there on what was that, State Street, and we were trying to recruit and pick up people who wanted to go to the classes. And I remember you pulled up and you had all this stuff, and the folks obviously knew you and this and that. It was just this beautiful thing to see. But it is a tough population. You laid it out beautifully tonight. You have to be in it to win it, man, for the long haul too. And believe me,
Yes.
just 2 days ago, out of clear blue, person we had worked with, and, this and that, contacting, finally got a place. Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But, no food whatsoever, child pregnant, blah, 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 this kind of thing. And so, hey, I came home, saw what we have, took as much over there as I possibly could to what we do, but that's sort of like a Band-Aid. I mean, I know, and by the way, to your point, the person I'm referring to works, has a job. But
Right.
so many, but it takes so much, and that job is just getting them by, and they're always in need. You know what I'm saying? So we
Yes.
do have a problem with the working poor, which a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people we hear that phrase, but that phrase is real. I mean, she literally is just one missed paycheck from being homeless again. You know,
And
think
and
about
to
that.
add to that, so I run my church's food pantry, right? Macedonian Missionary Baptist Church.
Hmm.
So Central PA Food Bank cut a lot of our budgets across the region, right?
Wow.
And so we used to work with maybe 13 to 17,000. We were cut to 3,000. So
Oh,
then
huh.
typically then your church, right, would pick up the slack, right? Your church budget. But if your church is hybrid and folks haven't all come back to the building,
Mhm.
along with the loss of people, with the loss of money. So
Yes.
then who's going to make up the slack for that? So we're facing different food shortages even within our food pantry.
Hmm.
And that's where we're supposed to be able to come back to. And with that same, on that same note, let me share this, all of the extra PUA food stamp money that was coming to everyone throughout the COVID crisis, right? Families were getting their regular amount and then they got a second extra amount,
Yes.
with it being a minimum of like $95 extra in food stamps. That is no more
Yeah.
as of this month. So families are really going to feel the burn. So I just want to put the word out to churches to brace up, to get ready, because folks are going to be in even more need as they get used to the fact that that extra is gone now.
So bring up a sensitive subject here, and I know people speak of it sometimes in private, sometimes in public, like we are now. And that is, everyone is appalled at what Russia is doing in the Ukraine. No question about it.
Mm,
And we
mm,
have, over the course of a year, sent millions, if not billions of dollars to the Ukraine. And it's a good thing that we are trying to stop the aggression of that, evil system, Russia. What the heck that's all about, I don't know, just killing people over there. However, with
mm.
millions and millions of dollars having been poured into our economy, billions, if you will, and everything, you know, what's it going to take to really give those persons who are in need, because now we're talking about cutting back on everything. You just went from 17,000 down to
Mhm,
3,000.
mhm.
It's not going
Right, right,
away.
right.
So if we can send billions and millions all around the world, can't we invest more of that here and create better opportunities for people who truly are in need, and especially those who are the working poor? People say, oh, you can't do that. Yes, you can, and all other kinds of things. But anyhow, having said that,
Mhm.
can you still see me, by the way?
I cannot see you.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. Let me see if I can pull that back up.
Mhm.
I don't know what this thing has a mind of its own. But anyhow, can you see me now?
All right.
You see me?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your thinking? I mean, the politicians, do they have it wrong, right? The churches, what's going on with the finances?
We had our first Compassion Action Network meeting in person, and there was a first time pastor visiting our meeting for the first time and he shared. I'll kind of repeat to the best of my ability what he said, and he said something to the fact of we need to be at the table when they're going over their budget. Like whatever these
Mm,
different fiscal programs are that we're talking about, where we want to get the money from at the state, at the legislative level, right? When
mhm.
they're making their budget, those line items,
Yeah.
we need to be right there in their face before the budget is shored up so that we are on the line item.
Mhm,
We are there.
mhm.
And so I actually was there this year at the city council meeting when they were going over the budget, and I actually did point out that I didn't see the homelessness listed as a line item.
Wow.
I didn't go in the capacity of this position as Christian Churches United. I actually was with my One Vote Counts group at the time, and I specifically said to them, "I'm not here to represent my job. I'm here as a concerned citizen,
Right.
speaking for the homeless, and I'm noticing on this budget, I don't see the homeless." And I was
Wow.
really concerned about that. And but I do know that they are doing some things to open housing. So I see some inroads being made. I do. And
Good.
I do see that this actually just under the Marbury Street issue, incident, whatever, however you want to frame it, has increased us working together, has increased the attention, right,
Okay.
on what's
Mhm.
going on. And people are really now aware. And so what people viewed as a calamity, our God has worked it out for their good. So I'll say to also answer your question when we come back to that, we
Mhm.
have been able to successfully move a lot of folks from under there. We've relocated many to other 10 cities, but with that
Mhm.
said, we've
Mhm.
connected with them and been able to do the CES assessments, been able to do the vulnerable, put them in the HMIS so that now we're looking
Mhm.
at people are able to get the 811 vouchers and the emergency housing voucher. What that does for them is now puts them they have a golden ticket now, right? To some
Okay.
access to housing where they won't have to necessarily have to pay the rent if they come on hard times, or they're able to only pay 30% of the rent when they get their Social Security or they get that, that part-time job. So, they have to qualify for this based on their homelessness and on some level, and then having a disability on the other level. So, but it's access. And some folks were able
Mhm.
to connect to like Valley Youth House. They work with the 16 to 24-year-olds that are homeless, and they're able to get folks connected, housed. We're able to get people jobs. We're connecting folks to UPMC, to medical care that they hadn't been getting all that time, even though
Yeah.
they're not working with us. And we're connecting folks, people who couldn't get their ID. I just worked with a gentleman today. He said, since I've been here for 8 months, I have not been able to get ID.
Yeah.
And I will be able to help him get both his birth certificate and ID tomorrow.
Well, it's interesting about that because we had a gentleman that, based on the work that you were doing, and then I came and got involved. I think about 3 or 4 men came out of that. My involvement with them, and they joined our fatherhood group. I would pick them up, bring them in the whole bit. And one gentleman in particular had that problem. He had been in the system for 25 years. So he comes out
Mm,
with nothing, and he couldn't,
mm,
establish the ID, Social Security, none of that. And we searched high and low and tried to get him, and he was frustrated. He was slamming phones down and all kinds of,
right.
you know. And so then he kind of just disappeared. I often wonder what happened to him, but anyhow, so that's a major issue. There are people who don't have, and then where do you go if you don't have ID or Social Security and all that kind of stuff? So that's something we didn't think about. I didn't think about until I actually met him and how dire that was. And so this thing is so multi-layered and has so many different tentacles, if you will, that it's a monster. Homelessness is. So
It
how
is.
think these larger cities are dealing with it. I mean, here we have Harrisburg, we had that Mulberry Street Bridge, but there are some communities,
Mm,
LA, San Francisco, whatever, that have massive,
right.
amounts of people, Chicago, Illinois. Um, have you visited these other places, cities? Have you had the luxury of being able to get out and see what other cities are doing and maybe trying to bring some stuff back to the burg, or taking some of our ideas to them?
we get articles, we get all types of different scenarios from different cities and want to apply things to here, but we run into an issue with land and housing, and we are a commonwealth.
Yes.
So what applies to many other states can't apply in the commonwealth.
Gotcha.
So, we run up against those things. And but like I said, back to the cash network, the collaboration with the city and the county, it is really flowing. And then we have Commissioner Hartwick working with us. So I mean, I think some good things are coming out of what happened.
Okay.
Like we had a fund developed, and so we were able to really see the people's needs, tarps, tents, and we were able to put new porta potties. And believe it or not, folks don't always want to come in right away.
No.
Right? Some folks just wanted to be relocated to a safer outside area. That's what we did. We helped people get to where they wanted to go, and then support them from there on their slow, gradual trusting process. Because people have mental health concerns. People had drug impacts. Different things are talking to them. Voices are speaking to them. So you have to rebuild again. Grab all your belongings, pack them,
I know.
move them, unpack them, resituate in an unfamiliar place that you didn't necessarily maybe want to go to.
But here's the thing that got me though.
So, and then we
Aisha,
went
you
to give
talk
us
about
information. So we had to rebuild relationships, reconnect. So it's more about making sure people had totes, rolling suitcases, tarps, tents, sleeping bags, blankets, and making sure they had those comfort hand warmers, making sure they were comfortable again, and rebuilding that trust level again with them. And so all of our services have been working out there literally every day since it started. Someone has been out there connecting. We've been having a communication chain, working with each other. Downtown Daily Bread, CCU, with the Cash Network. We're all talking, working together, and in all the different groups, like I said, that come out regularly on the Thursday outreach. We have an every Wednesday call that we talk and plan. We get trainings together to be prepared to go out. We talk about any trends and concerns. So like I said, cities on the call, county officials are on the call, so that we're making sure we're really getting to the root of things and meeting the real needs. We have someone from DPW on the call, so all the different shelters are on the call. So we're all talking, working together to get at what you saw, out there. And so, and making the folks comfortable. So today was a day of continuing to work with some of the holdouts, like you had asked me about under the bridge. So there's a little more than, when it may have been 3 initially, 3 more friends show up. But we were able to move more folks. Again, somebody there, at least another 6 that had accumulated. We were able to move, some couples, 2 couples, actually 3 couples were able to move out, and then some friends. So that was really excellent. And again, connecting people with services. So when you look at where we started to where we are now, it's been a great success, is what I would call it.
So you have, I know you have,
relocating.
Yeah, but you have the one encampment, I call it encampment, over under Strawberry, the Marbury Street Bridge.
So
But then you have one down near PennDOT, right?
Yes.
Along the river there? Okay. Where are the other ones located? I know there used to be one off
So
of like,
there's 2. So there's the one, the new one where people have now relocated, that's towards Stilton and along the Greenbeltish area. And so back up in there. So they have relocated there, and different people have to pick different spots along their trail, and they are safe there. And we are servicing them there. This Saturday, we have our Laundry Angels, which is another initiative of CAN, which is Compassion Action Network under CCU, and it's a collaboration with Angel Fox and Fox's Wash and Go. So every first Saturday of the month, we have a van. We pick up unhoused with their dirty laundry, and we take them to the laundromat, We pay for everything. We supply them with all of the laundry supplies. And then sometimes we have food and snacks and water. And then we have a donor who pays for a fresh and clean porta potty delivered just for that day for them. And so we've been doing that for over a year now.
So Pat and I had a chance to take a trip to South Africa. We saw massive encampments there, in Cape Town, Durban, wherever we were, and they would just kind of pop up, and then all of a sudden everyone would just come, and you see the shanty shacks, But so the government stepped in and said, well, we have to do something. So they had to put in the porta potties, they had to put in lighting, really, they had to put in electricity. So that
Right.
So
Wow.
one of the problems that we have under the Marbury Street Bridge was the rat infestation. How were the people able to live there with a rat infestation? And don't those rats, of course, carry disease or potentially could. I mean, is that what really that? And I'm hearing from the news, of course, that was one of the driving forces to kind of step in now and break that encampment up. Talk about that.
What we learned and where it was explained to us, and then I believe they shared it too in the press conference. And so from October to December is the time period when the increase happens. Okay. So what happens from October to December? You have Halloween and party trade. You have November Thanksgiving, and you have all of December Christmas parties and meals. So people were just dropping off food with no level of, I would say, coordination. Okay. And we love all the people that help. We love all the people that care about our folks that are unhoused. But when we all are not kind of coordinated and talking and communicating, you can oversaturate an area.
Yeah.
So there was also then, there was that issue that you can Google of the illegal dumping of the pet rats, right? So there was them. And then there was the actual river rat. So when you have an overabundance of food and a mixture of either rat, the gestation period is 8 weeks to have another litter of rats.
Wow.
So from October to December is what was explained to us, was when with all the oversaturation of food, the increase just became an issue. And then they were coming out of the trash cans. They were just showing up in broad daylight. Yeah. And so from there, they go where? To the residents up the street. That's a concern. They eat bridge material from what we were taught, told. So that's a huge concern. We all use that bridge. I use that bridge on a regular basis, so we need that bridge to stand. So that right there is a health risk. Then of course, there was other issues, with towards drug trafficking, sex trafficking was on the increase as well under there. And so that was a concern. But mainly, but that health hazard is the biggest concern, because then what if they're biting the are unhoused, and then they can then jump out on the people feeding, right? All of the folks that have it in their heart to help. And so one of the pastors who does a church service under there said he actually saw them. They were coming out, running between people's legs during the church service. So then that would be a risk for us who are providers. So it's a risk. So we just wanted to, at this point we want them to relocate so that we can safely get that area safe. And then like was announced, from the city, that they cannot keep them from returning. We don't necessarily want them to, but we cannot keep them from, is what was stated. They can't keep them from returning, but at least let us get a handle on the health risk.
There was also concern about crime, that people were being attacked, the rapes, all kinds of things were being said. How rampant was that? I mean, did you get a handle or a sense of how much of that was going on?
The city released a statement about that. I believe Matt Maisel had talked about, and it was like 16 different calls of like assaults, and somebody got pushed into Cameron Street. But I can attest to, from that same time period, I lost about, I think it was 4 different clients, not necessarily all under the bridge, but there was a gentleman from under the bridge who was, people were familiar with seeing him panhandle. he died of an overdose. He was a client of mine.
Mm.
The young lady more recently who was hit by the trailer
Right.
and dragged them up the block. She was a client of mine from under the bridge that I knew. And so then there was a older woman, right? That was a while, like was that a few months ago, maybe back in 2022, but not that long ago. But like in October, Miss Crystal had been shot several times. There were, several overdoses where people were Narcan and brought back numerous times. We've witnessed different drug activity while we're out there helping and serving. I've been approached and questioned by drug dealers. What are you doing out here? I said, I'm working like you're working. Leave me alone. Let me do my work. And that was in my early days. Now I wouldn't necessarily want to be out there like that. But and I've learned now I want to be safer. I'm older. I'm 50, and I'm not as fast.
There you go.
I'm able to make the connections now without having to stay as late and be as risky as I maybe had done before. And we have to work smarter now. And I would say that to anybody who,
absolutely.
The goal now is to not service that area, but to service the two sanctioned areas, if you will, which is the towards Stilton area. They call it south of Harrisburg, and then the PennDOT area. And so we'll be servicing our folks there. Because I believe the city is going to move forward with their cleaning process this week. So, and we do want it cleaned out for all of our safety. And but we wanted to do it with dignity, treat all of the folks with dignity. We asked, we offered. Today, even Starfish Ministries, I want to definitely give them a shout out because they were there with a truck. And me and him were there under that bridge. I started at 10 o'clock today, and we ended at PennDOT. Literally, I had just gotten home before I got home.
Wow. Doing what? What were you doing out there all this time?
Helping some of those holdouts move and relocate from under Mulberry Street Bridge.
So you actually transported them to unbelievable. So, I know that I look at Facebook and I noticed that you and your hubby went to Jamaica, and with our buddy Angela Renee Bates and everything. So here you are, and I know you were vacationing and having a wonderful time. But also, Jamaica is one of the areas we think of as being challenged.
Oh my goodness! Listen, yes, when we did that. That everybody sees on the little commercial, right? To say those commercials, the lazy river ride. And I did my little version of you on I'm talking and I'm like, look at our folks, like to see along that river, how creative our people are. I can't see you, by the way.
I'm gonna come up again.
It's just amazing. Like our folks are just so ingenious. Like we can make it out of nowhere. We can make it. And the other thing that I loved about our trip is we actually travel with a Jamaican, and we put our money in the hands of Jamaicans, throughout the trip, as opposed to, maybe, resortish. Like we really did things with the natives and talked to the people and hung out and it was the best trip ever. It was for my 50th birthday. And so, I turned 50 December 7th, and we left December 8th. And it was like really awesome. And Angie is the greatest tour guide ever. And Levine is, so wait, I have to give you the God funny about that. So the whole while we're with Levine, he is our tour person the whole while. He's our Jamaican connection. And so I'm talking about my bestie, Sharonda, of over 44 years. And I'm also talking about my parents the whole time. So by day 3, he's like, when I lived in Harrisburg, and I was little, because what happened was his mother married someone that lived in, I think, New Jersey or whatever. Then they moved to Harrisburg.
Okay.
And so he said, I had a gym teacher.
Come on, no.
Named Mr. Mobley. and he gave us, me and my friend, a soccer ball to take home. And he
Mhm.
was the only teacher I remember taking an interest in me like that. And he
All
said, you
right.
all play with it, work on it, and get better. This could, impact your life later. And he said, we did exactly what Mr. Mobley said. We took the ball, we kicked it around. He said, and we did do other stuff with it later. Like they played on, he played on the team, and I think the other guy did. But
Mhm.
so I put them on, Facebook Messenger talking. And
Okay.
my dad, who was 74, miracle walking,
Mhm.
um, he was so moved.
Mhm.
He said, so wow, I took care of you, and now you're taking care of my baby.
Go ahead
He
now.
was like, wow, and it was really moving. Then it hit
Mhm.
him. He said, well, do you know Steve Little and Shiona Little? And I
Wow.
said, you mean the people I've been telling you about, my best friend's birthday party, and how the Africans, threw the money on her, they
Yeah,
called the
yeah.
shots out, and I showed you all the pictures. And
Uh,
he was like, yeah. So I showed him a picture of Shiona and Steve. I said, they are my best friend's first cousins.
Go ahead.
And we
Nice.
just laughed and laughed at how small this world is. And the
Whole
Lord was
world.
showing me how we think we are so big and this is so much. And he's like, no, I'm bigger than all of that. I can pull the string to make
Mhm.
it so you were the right people at the right time who know you and are, just showed us a really good and safe, fun time. And
Mhm.
people were worried about the uprisings and things going on
Oh
in
yeah.
different parts of Jamaica.
Mhm.
None of that touched us. Our
Fantastic.
our condo resort is gated, security 24 hours,
Mhm.
beautiful beach. Like I could just look at the waves all day, all night. I mean, it was
I
just
hear you.
amazing. And the
The
Lord
pictures
really
look amazing.
answered my prayer because
Mhm.
from at the beginning of 2022, when my bestie and I were talking about what we wanted to do for our 50th birthdays, I said, I want to be on the beach. She's like, well, I want a big party. I said, I want to be on the beach. And I didn't know
Okay.
where and when. And I thank God for Angie helping make it happen.
Mhm.
And it was beautiful, seamless. Our flights were seamless. With all the shenanigans that happened after we got back,
Oh yeah.
I know that God was with us, and He wanted me to have that good time serving His people was like a little reward, from
Mhm.
heaven.
That's
It was,
fantastic.
but
But here's the thing though, and we're getting near the end here, but all the people that we've been talking about, we say homeless, that kind of thing, but they're real people. And a lot
yes,
of them,
they
like you said, have drug and alcohol issues, this and that, but that doesn't mean they haven't traveled before. That doesn't mean some of them don't have college
that's right.
degrees and all that
Degrees,
kind of stuff.
resumes, yes. Mhm.
Unbelievable. So, when you think about the work that you've done and continue to do every single day
Mhm.
with the homeless folks, what's the one message you want to leave us with? Why those of us who are on the sideline way too much and too often, and we think we're doing this, doing that, but there's much more we can do. How would you encourage us to get out there and really get involved and to see them as more than just homeless people, but our brothers and sisters?
One, get involved by connecting with like CCU, connect with Downtown Daily Bread, people that are already doing the work, as opposed to, starting, a new wheel. Come and
Right.
get connected. We're always looking for volunteers, and we have a safe place for you to come and connect with those very same street homeless folk that you want to impact. So that's
Mhm.
one. The thing that I would leave with people is kind of a lot, like I said, like you read in the article, as if their last name is your last name,
Yeah.
like it's you, like it's your family member. How would you want them to be treated at this point in their life? Like it could be you, it could be me.
That's
And
right.
so when you talked about one paycheck away, you know, I work for a nonprofit. I don't make big money. I have to do that trip on a payment plan. We're not rich, and so it's just about the heart and just understanding that hurting people do hurt people,
Yeah.
and these are real people. These are real people, and they want to be treated with the same dignity that you would want to be treated. They
That's
don't
right.
want to be stuff talked at. They don't want to be have stuff thrown at them. They
Mm.
want you to walk them through, talk to them, and treat them with dignity like they have your last name.
That's good. That's real good. Yeah. What is it? Love thy neighbor as thyself,
Mhm,
And
mhm.
man, we've got to do that more often because this is an eye opener. We know that, those encampments exist. We know the homeless people are with us. You see them everywhere. You see people. but you don't really know that they're homeless. In fact, I was shocked when I worked in the Harrisburg School District, when I was working with Sci Tech there, to find out that there were so many children who come to school every day, but who are homeless, you know? And I thought, wow. And at one point, they said they'd identified something like 350, but then a student said to me, yeah, but there are a whole lot more than that, because a lot of us
Oh,
count,
absolutely.
what do you call it? They couch surf. So they go from home to home. So they're not being counted in that number as homeless, but they are indeed homeless, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so many. It's a hidden number that we can't count.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. It's so many.
Mm-hmm. There's
And
a
it's and the
commercial
number
for,
changes.
yeah, go
And the
ahead.
number literally is changing minute by minute.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, I love that one little commercial. We talk about homelessness, but there's so many layers to that, as I said before. And food deprivation is one of those issues. If you're homeless, you don't have oftentimes food. And it shows these kids out there playing basketball, and then they start peeling off. You know, the parents comes for one, the other one says, "Oh, I gotta go home. It's time to eat, whatever." But just show that one little kid still out there playing basketball, and the reason why he stays on that court is because he doesn't have anywhere to go,
That's
and
right.
he's hungry. And I said that was really powerful, because they could show the shanty towns and the huts but just to show that one boy out there playing basketball. But guess what? You look at him, he looks normal, but he's homeless. You know, so sometimes we don't know because we don't get up close and personal. So one of the things that I hope that all of us will do a better job at is knowing who we are in proximity to, really caring who we're in proximity to, and then really trying to help people, and not wait until they get way out there, under the Marlborough Street Bridge,
Absolutely.
catch them before they get there, Yeah. And to
And
that point, I'm gonna say that,
prayer
go
truly
ahead.
changes. I was gonna say, and definitely praying and praying, because it does change things. People think that's the last thing to do, and I say no, that's the first thing to do.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Hey, by the way, remember Joe Summers? Okay, so Joe Summers has created a wonderful college. It's a Bible college that is free right now. And he said his whole sole purpose is to teach the gospel. And so I'm one part of his teaching faculty. We've been doing it for about 2 or 3 years. And now we're bringing it to the United States, because he's in China. And we've been doing it with mostly African brothers and sisters from around the world. And so now I have Angela Renee, your buddy, and her mother, Lillian. They've come on board. And we're doing Wednesday nights. We do it by way of Zoom. And the curriculum comes from Harvest Time Ministries, and it's a fantastic curriculum. And currently, we're doing a course called "What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do." The Christian response to crisis. Anyhow, it's free. It's open. You can register and all that kind of stuff. We run out of time, but I want to talk more about that one day too. And I'd love to get you involved, because you are a wealth of knowledge, woman. I mean, you are unbelievable. And you meet so many people. So last word for the night too, by the way. This shirt that I'm rocking, I want to thank Victoria Pitts. This was her husband's shirt. And she gave me this shirt, and her husband passed away, and he was a die-hard Eagles fan. And so, brother, we got you in prayer. We know that you're looking down on us. Victoria, thank you so much. She handed this to me, and I feel honored to wear it today. And so, anyhow, thank you
I
also.
forgot to tell you, that's my daddy's team too. That is my daddy's team. We had
Listen,
to
I
do
knew Mobley was
everything.
all right. I knew Isom was all right. Tell both Isom and also your mother, beautiful people that they are. Tell them I said hello, and God bless you. Thank you again for doing what you did. Okay, we'll stay connected. Okay.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. God bless. And thank you, Brother Chris Thomas and the family here at The Voice 17104 for making Harrisburg, for making this platform possible. And by the way, Chris has a whole new thing going with this here Voice TV. Check it out, y'all. We'll be talking more about that. Good night, everybody. See you next time.
Night.
Good night.